Many WNBA fans are calling out the referee problem.
The referees literally turned their back.
Caitlin Clark appears to be hunted every game. She deals with physicality that no other player in the league is dealing with. The WNBA not stepping in to protect their cash cow, their only draw, their only star, and this is the end result.
They said she'd transform the game. They sold her as the spark of a new era. But no one mentioned the league might fight back. In just a handful of games, Caitlin Clark's rise from the WNBA's golden girl to its most targeted player has been nothing short of jarring.
It's shocking.
Caitlin Clark will be sidelined for at least 2 weeks
with a quad injury.
Bullets has emerged. How Caitlin Clark got hurt.
He fouls her for the 4th time. It's cheating.
Caitlin Clark is the driving force behind the interest in the Fever and the interest in the WNBA.
Rookie Caitlin Clark was subject to several intentional fouls.
And it wasn't just the opposing teams. This wasn't some typical rookie learning curve. What played out felt far more intentional and far more threatening.
After every single game, WNBA players, fans, coaches are all complaining about the referees, and they have shown that they're not going to change anything because the referees continue to be horrible.
Game after game, Caitlin absorbed the blows, knocked down, roughed up, and forced to battle through a storm of silence from the officials. The referees, tasked with keeping the game honest, looked more like bystanders in a poorly scripted scene. What began as scattered oversights soon morphed into a full-blown crisis of neglect, with obvious fouls ignored as Clark repeatedly crashed to the floor.
Felines head coach Stephanie White, she was complaining about her team not getting a whistle, not being respected.
Then came the moment everyone feared. Caitlin, benched with a quad injury. And just like that, fans began rewinding the tape. Every uncalled foul, every punishing hit that slipped by, every desperate look she shot at the refs, pleading for a whistle that never came.
She will be out for 2 weeks minimum following a quad strain.
Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham going to the officials and trying to, ask for an explanation of what had just occurred. That official completely stonewalled them.
It stopped looking like chance. It started looking like a plan. And just as the uproar hit full volume, boom, new reports dropped, exposing the cracks in an officiating system more broken than anyone dared to admit.
This is a WNBA problem, and as more and more eyeballs are watching this league, it becomes growingly an issue. The officiating feels you never have a true grasp.
Turns out, a surprising number of the league's referees came straight from high school courts. And they're not even making calls based on instinct or experience. Instead, there's a hidden council, GMs, coaches, league insiders, quietly steering how rough the game should get, leaving officials to follow orders instead of the rule book.
The referees are not listening to them. They're not listening to the coaches. They're not listening to the players. They're not listening to the fans. They're listening to their stakeholders. That's why I keep saying nothing is going to change till the mindset and whoever's running all of this, the stakeholders, governance, whoever these people are.
And Caitlin Clark? She's trapped right at the center of a storm where power, pride, and profit all crash together. Now, after weeks of mounting fury, viral clips lighting up every feed, and even insiders breaking their silence, the WNBA is finally starting to sweat.
If this injury does anything, it should be a wake-up call to the WNBA, the Players Association, the team owners, that just like that, all this fanfare, all this interest, all this newfound attention on the league can disappear overnight.
With whispers of lawsuits and rumors swirling about referee bias, the league's golden star could quickly turn into its greatest risk, unless they move fast. And here's the million-dollar question. How far will they go to silence the very player they've been profiting from since day one?
Caitlin Clark is being roughed up, but the physical wear and tear on Caitlin Clark, I'm not surprised that 2 weeks into the season, she's already got an injury.
Caitlin Clark has never been one to shy away from a challenge. At Iowa, she shattered records, drew in millions of fans, and transformed women's basketball into must-watch prime time. So when she entered the WNBA, The anticipation was electric, not just for her play, but for the surge of energy she promised to bring to a league desperate for a breakthrough.
2024 was a year of unprecedented growth in viewership in the WNBA, a substantial amount of which can be attributed to Caitlin Clark, who took the basketball world by storm after an all-time college career.
Who had appeared in 185 consecutive games between her career at Iowa and her time with the Indiana Fever. 139 games with the Iowa Hawkeyes. She never missed one.
And for a moment, it felt like everything was clicking. Crowds swelled, TV numbers soared to new heights. But rather than welcoming her with open arms, the league greeted Clark with elbows, cold shoulders, and outright hostility from the very start.
Caitlin Clark, somebody who was responsible for 26.5 of all WNBA economic activity last season, including revenue from merchandise, ticket sales, and television.
Caitlin Clark out at least 2 weeks waited, but can the WNBA maintain without her? Can the WNBA pack arenas draw ratings?
From the instant she stepped onto the pro court, it became clear this was more than just a game. It was personal. Every matchup turned into a battle zone. Defenders weren't merely guarding her, they were throwing elbows like it was UFC night. She faced relentless full-court pressure, off-ball grabs, and hits that belonged on a rugby field, not a basketball court. And the refs? Nowhere in sight. Fouls that would have drawn whistles for any other star were shrugged off when it came to Clark. Time after time, she had no choice but to grit her teeth and power through.
The referees just exposed their hand so bad, bro. I mean, they just didn't care no more. They didn't care. The world was watching how bad the cause was. They didn't care at all. They was going to get their issue off against the Fever no matter what. And I'm here to tell you, that's exactly what went down, bro. They have an agenda against Caitlin Clark.
All the while, the league pushed the same worn-out excuse. She just needs to adjust. But why is the burden always on her to change? Why is Caitlin Clark the only star expected to toughen up while others are shielded like royalty? Then came the injury. After grinding through monster minutes night after night, sometimes over 35, Caitlin was sidelined with a left quad strain, out for at least 2 weeks.
Basically said the reason that people are complaining is because they haven't watched the WNBA before, and these are just new fans who don't understand. But there's clearly an issue.
It wasn't just a setback, it was a gut punch to Indiana Fever and a huge blow to the entire WNBA. For countless fans, it didn't feel like a random injury. It felt like the cost of neglect, the inevitable fallout from a season of unchecked aggression and a league that failed to protect the one player keeping the spotlight burning bright.
Indiana Fever guard Caitlin Clark has suffered a left quadricep strain and will be out for a minimum of 2 weeks.
This wasn't some cruel twist of fate. It was a disaster waiting to happen, one that could have been avoided. What made it hurt even more? The deafening silence. The league stayed quiet, never acknowledging the relentless beatings Caitlin Clark had been forced to endure.
It's the Caitlin Clark disrespect. And what I mean by that is you've got somebody who is obviously the most popular player in basketball. You got somebody that I would argue may be a top 5 most popular athlete in the United States of America. All right. You got this athlete in a league that nobody's been watching, never turned a profit, and your system is broken against that team?
No statements, no apologies, just another name on the injury list. But this wasn't just any name. This was the face of the WNBA's new era, sidelined not because she couldn't handle the pressure, but because the very system designed to protect her turned its back instead.
I can't take the WNBA serious anymore. They hate their only cash cow in Caitlin Clark. This is the only league on earth where the players have dated each other. Now they find Caitlin Clark and Ryan Howard $30 apiece for just jawing at each other on the court.
The WNBA has once again revealed its double standards, this time fining Caitlin Clark for the supposed offense of defending herself in a heated moment with Atlanta Dream's Ryan Howard. In a league that says it empowers strong women, it seems that strength is only acceptable under certain circumstances, ones that shift depending on the player involved. This episode highlights the league's uneven discipline and disturbing tendency to penalize passion while turning a blind eye to deeper issues in women's basketball.
You know, there'll be the big talked about moment, Ryan Howard, Caitlin Clark, jawing back and forth. But there's another example, right? Clark in that moment saying, I'm not scared of you. No, I'm not afraid. Then giving her a sarcastic thumb.
The tension boiled over during the Indiana Fever's rematch against the Atlanta Dream, with emotions flaring as both teams fought fiercely for dominance. Just 2 days earlier, the Fever had endured a tough loss to Atlanta, and Thursday night's showdown at State Farm Arena offered a shot at redemption. With 17,044 fans filling the arena, many paying top dollar to see Caitlin Clark in action, the atmosphere was electric and primed for high-stakes drama.
What was that about, man? She was saying, don't do that again. But I'm trying to figure out why she gets so mad. I guess because of the push right there. Kind of like a get off me a little bit. But she's holding it right there. Look at the hand checking, right? We got the hand checking going on the hip. Putting it on the chest. How you hand checking? You can't hand check. This isn't the 80s. What are we doing? Hold on, man. She's hand checking right here. Then Caitlin trying to get by, right? But her hand's still there.
What unfolded was both a showcase of elite basketball and a telling snapshot of the WNBA's current political landscape. In Indiana's hard-fought 81-76 win, Caitlin Clark squared off in a tense moment with Atlanta's Ryan Howard. It was a flashpoint that would shape not only the game, but also the league's reaction to competitive intensity. The confrontation captured exactly what fans crave from top-tier athletes in a high-stakes matchup: grit, passion, and the raw emotion that makes basketball so thrilling to watch.
I just don't know what it is about giving Caitlin Clark foul calls that has the referees so averse, but calling more on her. And basketball is so mental. Like, when you get into someone's head, it can really mess the rest of their game up. It can mess the momentum up.
Howard, eager to assert control and possibly unsettle the league's most high-profile player, initiated contact that pushed past the usual limits of basketball physicality. But rather than retreat or look to the officials for help, Clark held her ground with the trademark toughness that's defined her career. In a moment that should have been praised as a display of elite competitiveness, Clark stared Howard down and delivered a line that captured her fearless spirit perfectly. "I'm not scared of you."
And in case you're wondering what Caitlin Clark said just there was, "I'm not scared of you." She's going to have to wear a hard hat this season. I mean, seriously. The league is going to try to take her out in every game.
The crowd roared in response to this raw display of competitive spirit, exactly the kind of energy that makes professional sports must-watch entertainment. This was basketball in its purest form. Two top-tier athletes pushing each other to the edge, neither backing down. It was the kind of moment that builds iconic rivalries and ignites fan passion. But in today's WNBA, standing your ground apparently comes with a cost. What followed exposed everything flawed about the league's current stance on discipline and player management. Instead of applauding Clark's intensity or acknowledging the moment as a natural part of the game, the WNBA chose to penalize her reaction to Howard's aggression. The $30 fine may be minor financially, but the message it sends is far from small. This decision raises serious questions about what the WNBA truly expects from its players. The league brands itself as a platform for strong, fearless women who won't be pushed around. Its marketing celebrates empowerment, grit, and elite-level toughness. But when one of its biggest stars demonstrates exactly that, in real time, the league responds with a fine and a quiet rebuke.
I did really enjoy seeing the return of Trash Talk Caitlin Clark, because sometimes people forget, it's a fun little extra add-on of her game. She and Ryan Howard got into it a bit early, where Ryan Howard was like, "You're in Atlanta," and Caitlin was like...
The timing of this punishment speaks volumes. All season long, Caitlin Clark has faced relentless physicality from opponents more focused on testing her toughness than playing clean basketball. From Angel Reese's ongoing social media jabs to the repeated hard fouls and tense encounters that have become routine for Clark, she has consistently responded with professionalism and restraint. Yet the moment she finally asserts herself, choosing words over retaliation, the league decides she's crossed some arbitrary line. This kind of selective enforcement sets a troubling precedent for how the WNBA treats competitive fire. The league seems content to let months of social media sniping, passive-aggressive comments, and orchestrated drama play out unchecked. Players are free to throw shade, post cryptic digs, and subtly chip away at each other's reputations with no pushback. But when one player delivers a direct, honest statement in the middle of a high-intensity game, that's what earns a fine.
Now fans are petitioning for the All-Star game to not be held in Indiana because it's clearly not safe. There's a petition for Dave Portnoy to never be able to attend WNBA games. There is a petition for Caitlin Clark to be arrested. I'm not joking when I say this. Arrested. This is something that has also gone viral on social media. And I'm only bringing this up because the WNBA pays attention to what's going on social media. So if they're paying attention to it, I'm following what the league is saying. Like what the precedents that the league is setting, I'm following that because I'm covering the league. If they're going to pay attention to viral things on social media, I guess we have to.
The most concerning part of this situation isn't the fine itself. It's what the fine symbolizes in the larger picture of WNBA discipline. The league has shown a clear pattern of inconsistent enforcement, where the consequences seem more influenced by which players are involved than by the nature of the incidents. This double standard creates a two-tiered system that erodes trust and sends mixed signals about what kind of behavior is actually acceptable. Take, for example, the stark difference in how the league responded to Clark's straightforward in-game exchange with Howard compared to its handling of other ongoing issues. Angel Reese has spent months waging what amounts to a sustained campaign against Clark, using social media to rehash old plays and stir up drama. Despite this being a persistent distraction, there's been no fine, no warning, and seemingly no concern from league leadership about how this behavior reflects on the WNBA. The message is loud and clear. Passive aggression, online feuds, and performative controversy are fair game. But speaking directly and competitively on the court is somehow beyond the pale. This upside-down disciplinary approach favors false harmony over real competitive edge, fostering a climate where players are subtly pushed to air grievances online instead of resolving them face-to-face, like true professionals.
What A'ja Wilson just did was unprecedented. I mean, on so many levels. She's arguably, allegedly, the reason Caitlin Clark was assaulted the entire 2024 basketball season in the W. I mean, what A'ja Wilson just did is really like, there's no coming back from this.
A'ja Wilson's squeaky clean, positive vibes only persona just took a massive hit, and honestly, it's about time people started noticing the double standard. For months, she played the role of the calm, collected veteran, while her fans were waging war on Caitlin Clark over the Nike signature shoe deal. But now, the truth is out. During the reveal of her highly anticipated shoes, A'ja casually dropped a bombshell. She'd had a Nike signature deal in the works for 2 years. 2 entire years, all while her fans were out there demanding justice, accusing Nike of blatant disrespect, and painting Caitlin as the undeserving rookie golden child. A'ja's deal was already locked in, and yet she kept quiet. She said nothing while her supporters created chaos.
Wilson was oddly silent, but complicit. All right, why was she complicit? Because, well, she knew she was getting a signature shoe for 2 years, and she let Caitlin Clark take all that hate.
Let's take a quick trip down memory lane. Social media nearly exploded when Nike announced that Caitlin Clark would be getting a signature shoe. The big question on everyone's mind was, how could they give her one before A'ja? That became the rallying cry. And where was A'ja in all of this? Silent, calm, strategic. She threw out a few cryptic tweets about respect, kept her followers guessing, and allowed the chaos to build. She knew exactly what people were saying. She saw the narrative unfolding, and she did nothing to stop it. Remember when she said this?
Asia Wilson is her name. Quote, "It doesn't matter what we all do as black women, we're still going to be swept underneath the rug. That's why it boils my blood when people say it's not about race, because it is."
Let's be real. If the roles were reversed and Caitlyn had a shoe deal in the works for 2 years, but allowed the world to drag Asia through the mud without stepping in to correct the record, she would be absolutely crucified. Articles would be written nonstop, and the talking heads would have a field day. But when Asia does it, suddenly it's all smiles and, oh, she's just so humble. No, that's not humility. It's manipulation. Asia allowed Caitlyn to take all the heat, using it to fuel a sympathy campaign built on a lie.
Do you have any ideas what you would want your future sneaker to look like?
I think the biggest thing for me is just I would love a low top shoe. I play in a low top shoe, so that's something that I would love to have carry over and something that looks good. That's so key to me.
The truth is, Asia Wilson could have ended this entire drama with just one tweet. Something as simple as, "My time is coming. Don't worry about me." That's all it would have taken. The mob would have calmed down and the attacks would have faded away. But she didn't say anything, because staying silent worked in her favor. She allowed her fan base, and let's be honest, a significant portion of the WNBA media, to paint Caitlyn Clark as the villain, the rookie stealing all the credit, while she played the part of the overlooked underdog. It was all a performance.
Asia Wilson, who? Why? Yeah, she's some WNBA player, who? No, she's one of the all-time greatest players ever. Why?
And now that the shoe has finally dropped, literally, all those "how dare Nike." Warriors are scrambling to rewrite history, but here's the twist. The disrespect never came from Nike. It came from Asia and the people around her who allowed the false narrative to spiral out of control. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark, who's done nothing but elevate the league and attract millions of new fans, has had to take hits from all sides. On the court, on social media, from players, and even from legends. And through it all, she's kept her head down, letting her game do all the talking.
And these WNBA fans that did not want to see Caitlyn Clark come in and do what she did, which was dominate the league. Led the league in assists as a rookie. After the season, I think I counted she broke something in the neighborhood of 63 records last year. Either rookie records or just flat records by anybody, not even a rookie. And all these fans have been mad. And all the while, Asia Wilson sat back and was just plenty happy to play the victim. She could have come out and made some kind of a statement that would have called off the dogs.
Meanwhile, Asia Wilson, who could have easily set the record straight at any point, chose silence. And that silence spoke louder than anything. It sent a clear message to her fan base. Go ahead, it said, let them believe I've been slighted. It said, let Caitlyn take the heat. And that's what makes this whole saga so frustrating, because it's not just about shoes. It's about the way Caitlyn Clark has been treated from the very start.
And so for Nike to put her in the position where she then has to go on social media and kind of cool her fans and like urge them to be patient and almost like defend Nike, it's such a disappointment, but it's not a surprise because Nike has done it before.
Instead of being embraced as the generational talent she is, Caitlyn Clark faced jealousy and resistance. Not because she did anything wrong, but because she made the league too visible, too quickly. Her impact was undeniable, and instead of celebrating it, people tried to tear her down. Asia Wilson could have been the bridge, the leader, the example, but she chose vibes over values.
How could they give Caitlyn a shoe before they give Asia one? Oh, how could they do this? How could they treat Asia like this? Two-time MVP at the time, just before she even won the damn third one. They is wrong for doing this. You want to know?
And let's not act like the timing of that Super Bowl ad was just a coincidence. Nike ran a huge campaign celebrating female athletes and somehow forgot to include the most influential woman in basketball right now, Caitlyn Clark. Clark, whose jersey sales shattered records. Clark, whose games led the league in viewership. Clark, who brought in fans who had never even cared about the WNBA before, but she was nowhere to be seen. Almost as if someone didn't want her in the spotlight, at least not for a little bit longer.
You want to know what I'm selling? I'm selling greatness! Asia Wilson, 3-time MVP. We got Jordan Childs. We got Juju Watkins. We got Sha'Carri Richardson.
Okay.
And we got Arena Sabalenka.
Champion.
Hustling is not easy, but I love it. Sabrina, I know you want a T. Thinking about it? You're thinking about it. They're gonna go fast. Kind of like Sha'Carri. I accept card. Where's the card? Come on.
Oh, wait, but what's in that box?
These don't come out till March. They may or may not be shirts, but if I tell you, I'm gonna have to kill you. Oh, you want one of these? Nike.com. Who wants a t-shirt?
Nike really thought they could pull one over on us with that last-minute voiceover trick, as if we wouldn't notice. But fans are too sharp for that. We all saw it. It wasn't some editing accident, it was intentional. That awkward voiceover was essentially Nike saying, "We love the revenue she brings in, but let's keep her out of the spotlight." Subtle? Not even close.
My favorite thing of all. So let's take a listen to this. Nike actually put this one out after the fact.
You want to know what I'm selling? Rookie of the Year, Caitlin Clark. I know you want a tee.
Okay.
Nike.com.
They re-recorded it. Like, that's not even, I mean that. That's like, listen to it.
And how does that make any sense? We're talking about Caitlin Clark here, the woman who hasn't just moved the needle, she is the needle. She's bringing in NBA-sized crowds, skyrocketing TV ratings, and completely redefining what's possible for women's basketball. Yet somehow, the WNBA and some of its most established names keep treating her like just another player on the roster. They're quick to cash in on the wave she's created, but when it comes to acknowledging her impact, crickets, silence, maybe even a little side-eye.
Not looking good for Nike yet again, dog. I don't even know how many videos I'm gonna make today about Nike, but it looked like Nike is definitely the star of the day. All started with the Super Bowl commercial, them snubbing Caitlyn, them putting Caitlyn in, them fixing the commercial, them dropping Asia's shoe. Now, come to find out, Asia Wilson has single-handedly killed the WNBA media credibility forever. Yes, oh my goodness, these women was lying. Oh God almighty. They made such a big deal over Caitlin Clark getting a shoe deal over Asia.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark should be the face of every WNBA campaign, every endorsement push, and every highlight reel. But instead of celebrating her success, the league has chosen to simply tolerate her presence. She's been treated like an outsider who stumbled into the party and is now outshining the hosts. And that cold shoulder? It's not just coming from execs or marketing departments, it's coming from the top players too. Enter Asia Wilson. Asia didn't need to be openly hostile. She didn't tweet anything nasty or start a public feud, but she also didn't do a thing when her fan base relentlessly went after Clark the moment Caitlin landed her Nike deal. Chaos erupted on social media, with people questioning Caitlin's worth, her resume, and her entire place in the league. Meanwhile, Asia just sat there, perfectly quiet, perfectly strategic, letting the storm rage on while sipping her tea in the background.
The media, all they talk about is Caitlin. Caitlin could throw somebody a bounce pass. Oh my God, she threw it. It's all about Caitlin.
Remember all the girls that were just all talking shit about her from the beginning? This was a tune change because that's how they roll. That WNBA is woke as shit. The NBA is woke as shit. And they had to tell her, you better change your thing or we're not going to get behind you 100%. And she did. She bowed down, and that's exactly what happened.
Caitlin Clark was honored as Time's Athlete of the Year, a significant recognition for such a rising talent. However, her achievement has been eclipsed by the uproar over her remarks in the accompanying interview. In the discussion, Clark mentioned, "I want to say I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is a privilege, and a lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them." These comments have ignited passionate debates. Some commend her for bringing attention to racial disparities, a persistent issue in both sports and society. Others have taken issue, alleging that she has succumbed to societal pressures and compromised her true self. As supporters and critics clash over her statements, the pressing question emerges: what does this mean for Caitlin Clark's future and her bond with her fan base? Stay tuned as we examine reactions from influential voices in the media, starting with Candace Owens, who unexpectedly supports Clark while addressing the larger controversy.
She's 22 years old. I don't know a single commentator out there, Megyn Kelly included, who did not at some point throughout their political career have the wrong perspectives. But for whatever reason, we've decided Caitlyn's not allowed that time to grow. She's not allowed time to change. She's got to be a perfect MAGA candidate and I guess stand up to the entire mob. This girl's literally being bullied, physically bullied, I will say, by the way, on the court. And we know the basis of that is quite racist. I think she just wants to survive. I think genuinely Caitlyn just wants to survive.
It's impressive to reflect on the accomplishments Caitlin Clark has achieved at such a young age. Her swift rise to prominence can make her youth easy to overlook, but it's crucial to offer her understanding as she maneuvers through this intense spotlight and becomes entangled in cultural debates. Next, we highlight a statement from David Portnoy, the founder of Barstool Sports and a prominent social media influencer. Unlike many commentators involved in the Caitlin Clark controversy, Portnoy is a genuine sports enthusiast. He shared his honest opinions in an informal rant posted on his Instagram and Twitter, providing his perspective on both Clark's remarks and the public's reaction to them.
Caitlin Clark's popularity has absolutely nothing to do with the color of her skin. Anybody who has actually watched women's basketball or watched basketball and watched Caitlin knows she plays totally different than any woman before her.
Portnoy disputes the claim that Caitlin Clark's achievements are solely the result of white privilege, highlighting the indisputable truth that her remarkable basketball talent set her apart. Her extraordinary level of play is the genuine reason she is hailed as the leading figure in women's basketball today, potentially the greatest in the sport's entire history. Portnoy also addresses the problem of commentators engaging in the debate without being true basketball enthusiasts. He emphasizes how voices from all sides of the cultural conflict are capitalizing on Caitlin Clark's fame, using her as a symbol for agendas she doesn't actually support. This misrepresentation has caused her words and character to be distorted by those eager to shape the narrative to fit their own perspectives.
All the people who are like co-opting this, who aren't real basketball fans, who aren't real Caitlin Clark fans, are like, oh, the woke mob got to her. She's now saying her success is because of the skin and she has privilege. First of all, she didn't say she had that. She said she earned everything she got. But what do you want Caitlin Clark to do?
Portnoy further elaborates on his viewpoint, indicating that the circumstances surrounding Caitlin Clark's remarks significantly influence her decision to address such issues. He contends that her statements are more of a deliberate tactic to navigate the complexities of her WNBA career rather than a sincere political position. According to Portnoy, Caitlin's main objective is to steer clear of divisive debates, choosing instead to avoid controversy and focus on her performance on the court.
She plays in a league that is predominantly African American, and she wants to maybe show up at work and not have people hate her. She wants the league to be successful. The more successful, more stars, the better it is for her and everybody in the league. This backlash of Caitlin turned on the league and Caitlin is woke and Caitlin is this. You fuckers are crazy. And that's what I hate. This, for Caitlin, has never been about politics, never been about race.
The controversy surrounding Caitlin Clark may be increasing her visibility and online presence, but it's evident that she prefers to steer clear of the limelight it brings. Naturally humble, Clark has never sought to become a political icon. Her unwavering dedication has always been to basketball. It's her passion, her strength, and the reason she earned the title of Time's Athlete of the Year. Although the debates and discussions surrounding her have certainly amplified her fame, perhaps it's time to let her shine in her true element, performing basketball at an exceptional level. This sentiment was echoed by the legendary sportscaster Dan Patrick, who encouraged everyone to simply admire greatness when it's right before us, as it is with Caitlin Clark. With decades of experience in sports, Patrick recognizes how rare and transient moments of brilliance can be. He highlights just how unique and generational Clark's talent is, urging us to appreciate her presence in the game instead of criticizing her.
Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA? That's it. It's okay. You want to throw in Angel Reese. You want to throw the memory of Cheryl Miller or Cynthia Cooper. Like, it's a win. We got to... Just, this is a unique moment. Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA what Wayne Gretzky did for the NHL when he went to the LA Kings.
There's no need to politicize every action a public figure takes. Sometimes, we should pause to appreciate the qualities that made them outstanding from the start. Acknowledging Caitlin Clark for her exceptional athletic prowess doesn't detract from other athletes. Dan Patrick highlights this idea, encouraging us to honor greatness for what it truly represents.
It's okay. Take a victory lap. You don't have to go, oh my God, these people are mad, or this person's mad, or this group is mad. Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA. It's okay. It's okay to say that. You're not diminishing what the founding, fathers of the WNBA did. You're not. She's the Time Person of the Year.
In summary, Caitlin Clark's remarkable achievements at a young age have firmly established her as a standout star in women's basketball, culminating in her recognition as Time's Athlete of the Year. However, her success has not been without controversy, particularly regarding her comments on privilege and race, which have ignited a heated debate among fans and critics alike. David Portnoy has emerged as a key voice in her defense, emphasizing that Clark's extraordinary talent is the true foundation of her acclaim and criticizing those who exploit her fame for ulterior motives. Meanwhile, legendary sportscaster Dan Patrick echoes the sentiment that Clark should be celebrated for her unparalleled basketball skills, rather than being entangled in political discourse. As the discussions continue, the overarching message remains clear. Caitlin Clark deserves to be appreciated for her exceptional abilities on the court, allowing her to shine without the burden of unnecessary politicization. Moving forward, it is essential to honor her contributions to the sport and support her journey, recognizing that her brilliance is what truly makes her a deserving Athlete of the Year.
Also, Complex has put out their 10 most influential women in sports. And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1.
Caitlin Clark did it again. As if shattering records on the court wasn't enough, she just scored another huge victory without even having to tie up her sneakers. Complex just crowned her the most influential female athlete, solidifying her place as the biggest name in sports at the moment. And the best part? She edged out Angel Reese, who, predictably, isn't taking it too well.
So, it's been hard for me, but adjusting and just kind of have that mindset of just moving on has been something I've tried to give myself a little bit of grace.
That's right. While Clark is out here racking up awards, growing the game, and making history, Reese is busy scrambling for excuses, pretending like this honor doesn't matter. But let's be honest, if Reese had won, we'd never hear the end of it. Instead of celebrating someone else's success, she's doing what she does best, downplaying Clark's accomplishments while spending more time on TikTok than in the gym.
Announcing the top 10 most influential athletes right now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark, check. Breaking records. Caitlin Clark, check. Proving their impact goes far beyond the game, from sold-out arenas to game-changing moves in business and fashion. These women are leading the way. If this is a top 10 list, then sitting on the top of that list, there's only one right answer. There's only one correct choice.
Let's set the record straight. This isn't just about an award. It's about who the fans are really backing. One player has everyone tuning in for her mind-blowing talent, and the other, well, she's famous for making headlines for everything but basketball. Some see this as a rivalry, but let's be real. It's not much of a competition when one player is actually winning.
What is your stance on that?
So my whole thing was like, when I got drafted, number 7. So I'm like, cool. Like, the pressure is not even on me because I'm drafted 7, so the pressure shouldn't even be up there. So I'm like, all right, cool. I can just hoop. So I'm like, all right, cool.
It's because you started killing it.
Well, yeah.
And they're like, oh,
I'm still a rookie. I'm still figuring it out. Trying to figure things out.
All right, let's break it all down. Why did Clark take home this award? What makes her influence so undeniable? And most importantly, why is Angel Reese acting like she got robbed? We're about to dive into the numbers, the impact, and the hilarious aftermath.
And Angel Reese is not going to like this because, well, she got beaten by Caitlin Clark for number 1. Yeah, so we're going to take a look at that. I think it's hilarious. I will tell you right off the bat, I don't believe there's a singular world, where Angel Reese should be ahead of Simone Biles either. There, I put that out loud.
Caitlin Clark didn't just break records, she obliterated them. 62 records shattered in a single season. Let that sink in. This isn't just about making history, it's about rewriting the entire record book. No player in WNBA history has ever dominated like this, and we're only in year 1.
My expectation is to be one of the best players in the world one day. I wouldn't expect anything less than that.
More history for the Fever rookie.
At this point, continue to be myself, and I think a lot of good will come from that.
But here's where it gets even crazier. Clark didn't just put up insane numbers, she actually changed the trajectory of an entire franchise. Before she showed up, the Indiana Fever were stuck at the bottom of the league, barely staying relevant. Then Caitlin Clark walked in, and boom, they made the playoffs for the first time in nearly a decade. That's not just individual greatness, that's team-changing dominance.
The woman who's been putting women's basketball on her back for the better part of 3 years now. These athletes are reshaping culture. Caitlin Clark has men watching women's basketball.
Let's talk off-court impact, because this is where Clark leaves the so-called rivals in the dust. WNBA merch sales shot up 500% in her rookie season. Yes, 500%. Jerseys, t-shirts, memorabilia, everything was flying off the shelves. Meanwhile, Reese's jerseys, just sitting there collecting dust while Clark's sold out in minutes.
This is a phenomenon. Caitlin Clark is a phenomenon.
This isn't just about jersey sales. Clark's influence is shaking up the whole league's economy. Viewership is through the roof. Arenas that once struggled to fill seats are now packed, but only when Clark's in town. Teams that used to beg for fans are now scrambling to expand seating to keep up with the demand.
So that's what they got on her. Caitlin Clark, she ran away with number 1. I don't think that should surprise us. She came away with number 1. Caitlin Clark is redefining the entire landscape of women's sports. That's right. Her dominance on the court has shattered outdated narratives about women's sports, proving that women's basketball can be just as marketable and widely watched as men's. But the Caitlin Clark effect goes far beyond her performance. It's reshaping the entire sports landscape. Clark's impact is undeniable. Her presence alone boosts the WNBA attendance by 105%.
Even sports economists are stunned by Clark's impact. Thayer Lavielle, a top name in sports business, called her a lightning rod for women's basketball, comparing her to Michael Jordan for how she's boosting the game's visibility and value. And honestly, she's spot on.
Because when we went to the WNBA games and we went to go watch Caitlin Clark when they came to play the Washington Mystics in DC, and they shut that they had to move the game from the Washington Mystics WNBA arena to the actual Washington arena where the Wizards played, and it was packed. It was sold out for people to see Caitlin Clark. That did not happen the day before that when they went to Chicago to play Angel Reese.
Let's talk real numbers. Clark's rookie season alone raked in a jaw-dropping $36 million for Indianapolis. Just one player did that, and it's only the start. Experts predict her rise will boost women's basketball's value by $1.6 billion over the next 3 years. Yes, billion with a B.
I'm going to look at this the way I did with Michael Jordan. Now, she's not the Michael Jordan of her sport as far as athleticism, playing, dominating. But Asia Wilson is the best player in the game. Not even a debate. But I'm talking about value now. Value to a franchise, value to a league, getting your team in the playoffs. They had the number 1 pick. They were the worst team last year. And there is value that I can attach to that.
So what does all this mean? Caitlin Clark isn't just a superstar, she's a movement. She's doing more than dominating on the court. She's reshaping the entire league's future, bringing in new fans, generating massive revenue, and making women's basketball must-watch TV.
I'm talking about value. Michael Jordan was the most valuable player every single year because of what he meant to his team and what he meant to the league. And, oh, by the way, winning 6 titles. Can't argue with that. Caitlin Clark may not win titles. Las Vegas is still a great team. But the fact that she is doing what she's doing and at a very high level, you know, it's now commonplace where she'll go for 26 and 12. I mean, those are great numbers for any player, no matter how long you've been in the league.
Meanwhile, Angel Reese is still sitting there trying to figure out why she wasn't named most influential. Maybe if she spent more time working on her game and less time complaining on social media, she'd get that this is about sports.
This is about sports. This is about athletic ability. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at Caitlin Clark's game, who's very reminiscent of a Steph Curry based on her range and shooting the 3, plus everything else she does. And then you look at Angel Reese, stop it. Stop it. There's a dude on the internet who cracks me up on TikTok. He's put together a shitload of Angel Reese clips. And it'll say Angel Reese part 36. And it goes, Angel Reese going up for another layup. She misses, bang! And I mean, dude, it's the funniest shit. And my whole thing is this, dude. She just seems as uncoordinated as a baby giraffe.
Caitlin Clark's journey to these awards might seem like a done deal, but the real story is way bigger. Remember Angel Reese? She was hyped as Clark's biggest competition, with the media pushing this so-called rivalry. It was framed as the ultimate showdown, a season-long battle that had fans hooked. But let's be real, was it ever really close?
Saying Angel Reese is better than Caitlin Clark is saying Rodman was better than Michael Jordan, or Ben Wallace was better than Kobe, or even Andre Drummond was better than LeBron. And I shouldn't have to point out that Angel Reese is actually a poor defender.
From the jump, the media pushed the narrative of 2 rookies battling for WNBA supremacy. But as the season went on, the gap became painfully clear. This wasn't a duel of equals. It was one player dominating the league, while the other spent more time in the headlines than in the box scores.
Oh, Reese! 3-on-3, part 13, let's get it! Classic long 2. Bang! PSA, no rims or backboards were harmed during the filming of this video. But viewers are encouraged to look away. Bang! What? Bang! I heard her say that she might sit out if the WNBA doesn't pay her what she deserves. I say $1 million for every missed layup is fair. Bang!
They are stat petting queen properly. Fair wages for all. I repeat, fair wages.
Remember, they're coming to see her. Long 2, butter pecan. Bang!
Then came Rookie of the Year and first team all WNBA, and that's when it all came to light. Clark didn't just win, she ran away with it. The so-called competition wasn't even close. As for Reese, she wasn't exactly graceful in defeat. Instead of congratulating Clark, she hit social media to claim Clark didn't deserve the honor. Imagine losing a race by a mile and then demanding a recount.
But her attention, her notoriety is based off Caitlin Clark. Because she wins the national title, first thing she does, she mocks Caitlin Clark. And then she doesn't even celebrate with her teammates. So she's made it personal with Caitlin Clark. Then she's played off of that.
But here's the real kicker. Clark's success isn't about trophies or petty rivalries. She's not out here chasing awards. She's revolutionizing the WNBA. Her impact goes far beyond basketball. She's expanding the game, shattering attendance records, and bringing in millions of new fans. Meanwhile, Reese is stuck trying to convince everyone she belongs in the same conversation as Clark. The difference? Clark is changing the game. Reese is just trying to catch up.